Hey, it's Adam with the Productivity Academy, and today I wanted to share a little bit about a tool I've been using for the past few months. I've used a few like this, but first I should tell you what this is, right? You can obviously see on here, I'm going to be talking about Shortform. I want to talk about Shortform specifically, but also about kind of this idea of being able to summarize and quickly get access to information. I think this is really important and a really great idea and something we've seen kind of the growth of over the past few years. So, first of all, what is short form, right? Well, I think they can describe really well here. It's way more than book summaries, but that is a big part of it. They do have guides to over 1,000 nonfiction books, but they also do more than that. It's not just books, it's also articles that they have created based on authoritative sources, and then more than that. So, and I'm going to show that. I want to get into it, but I think that that's the overview. So, there's new books, there's new guides every single week, and members get to vote on what books come up next. So if you want to see one, you really do have input on that, which I find important, and I think is a good way to do that. So for an example, I think this is better to talk about how do I use it. An example of this for me is coming in, and this is what it looks like after you've logged in. Is extreme ownership. So I recently came across this. I've done a bunch of other book summaries, but I realized I've had that on my to-do read list for a long time. And I finally had some time. I sat down and I was like, you know what? Before I actually invest the time and effort into this, I want to take a look and see if this really is something. Because I remember a couple years ago, whenever I added it to, I think it was my Amazon wish list or something, I thought, oh, yeah, I definitely want to read this. And it's one of those that mentally has been like, I should do this. I should do this. And one of the ways I like to use short form is like, oh, do I actually, or can I read the summary and say, you know what, maybe later, or no, I actually don't. I've learned it, or I've bypassed it, or I no longer need that. But this is just so handy to get that overview of, and that's how I do it. So for example, you can listen. I'm a bigger fan. I like reading in general more. Sometimes if I want to listen, if I'm in the car, I can do that. And I think that's powerful. I know there's some people who really gravitate towards the audio side of things. And if that's you, boom, this is great. It's there for you. I myself enjoy kind of doing a scan through. So they have the one-page summary, and you can make highlights, right, which I find super helpful. You can, of course, share it, get links to stuff. For me, that's not as big an issue, but it is nice to have that feature. But coming in here, you get a one-page summary. So this would be like the book overview, and then really going into the main topics. All right. So this is one way to come in here and get that sense of like, okay, is this what I want to learn about? Is this what I want to invest my time and effort into? All right. So also, this is just an example of course, what I was looking at. But let's take a look. If you want to come in here into books, you can see the latest books, but also you can come in here on categories and see all of what they have to offer here. Biographies, business, parenting, I mean, ton of books. One I just looked for earlier, so I know it's in here, but I was getting ready to read a book by Peter Drucker. And so came in and I was like, oh, this is great. The Effective Executive is in here. So I'm definitely going to read through that and make sure that that is something I want to invest time and effort into. And I'm going to get into a little bit more too, how I do that and why. Because it's not always, oh, I want to read the summary and then go read the entire book. There is another way that I can do this. Okay. So what do I do, after that? This is what I wanted to talk about. So I can read the summary, listen to a summary, and then decide to dive deeper, like read the book, of course. But I can also dive specifically into a section or area, right? I like this. It saves me time. If there's potentially 3 sections in Effective Executive that I want to do, I can go in and get those sections. Of course, context matters. You may end up wanting to read the whole book, but I do like this idea that, hey, sometimes I don't need to read a 500-page book, especially in nonfiction. I may just need some specific sections out of it. And I definitely feel that way if it's an author I've read before and I maybe understand their points of view or their biases or where they're coming from. I can go in and do a little bit more targeted research. So as far as like who I see this being a good fit for, really, the broad case is anyone that enjoys reading and learning, anyone that wants a good preview of a book, that they weren't sure about if they should invest the time to sit down and read. And also anyone that likes getting an overview of a book before you get started. I think that this is actually a pretty powerful one and falls in line with some fundamental principles of reading. I believe it is Mortimer Adler, who wrote How to Read a Book, right? I think he would see the value in short form as a precursor to spending a lot of time and effort going through a book, highlighting, annotating, making notes, understanding it, right? Like one of the ways that he recommends going about reading a book, right, is you should, of course, read the cover, read the insets, read the table of contents, get an idea of who the author is, what they're going to cover. And to me, this is an even better way to do it, to have kind of a third party, if you will, that's gone through and summarized the book. So now you can say, okay, I kind of have the basic premise. I understand what the general book is about. And then you can go in and really go for it if that's what you want to do. But I think that's good. That is definitely part of good reading, is understand where is this all going, in the sense of what's the premise of the book? What am I supposed to be doing? What is the question that the author is answering? And so having that in your head is something you want to form on your own, but doing it this way can help you get there a little bit quicker, I think. So highly recommend checking it out. Again, if you fit into one of those categories of readers, I think that this is a really awesome tool for you. If you want to get a 5-day free trial, use the link below in the description. If you decide it's a good fit, you can also I think that will get you a 20% off an annual subscription, which is pretty awesome. So check it out. Let me know what you think. I'm really happy with it. I'm going to be using this some more while I'm traveling. This is going to be something else that I'm looking forward to using. So for things like, sitting around in the airport or, on a flight, can pull this up, maybe choose the next book or just kind of peruse some good stuff, read the articles, all that sort of good stuff. All right. That's going to wrap it up for short form. Have a good one.